Okie dokie. Down to Vaults 3. Things still going smoothly. I'm back. You know, it's a roller coaster of emotions, DCSS, because even when things are going well, I feel like I just oscillate between pure hubris and overconfidence and debilitating anxiety as to what I'm potentially piloting myself into, or rather, I guess, what that hubris may lead to. And that's not to say it's necessarily a bad thing. I think, anxiety and fear probably exists in the first place as a human condition in order to give us some level of defensive abilities or precautionary ability to make sure that we don't find ourselves in unbeatable situations, for lack of a better phrasing. So it's not that that's in its own right horrible by any means, but it's definitely an interesting experience to say the least. And a bit of necromancy action. Shouldn't be too much for us to deal with at all. Beautiful. Potion of cancellation I would definitely like to pick up. Yeah, it does feel good when things are clean, for sure, and they seem happier, so you're happy, Carl especially. Well, I'm glad to hear it. To hear all of you in general, and especially Carl, are doing well. That's very lovely. Oh, no, let's let these sons of guns come to us. Beautiful, bit more manageable in that configuration. If I just back up a few steps here, pop around the corner, potentially we only have to face off against these sons of guns a couple at a time. Bit less so if that's how they decide to configure themselves. I was worried about the Entropy Weaver continuing to cause a few problems, but no such luck for our poor opponents there. Shapeshifter. That makes a bit more sense as to what all we were seeing. Oh, I'm slowed. That's a problem. Let's rectify that. Probably a little bit later to just be starting on the process of fixing that, but me oh my. 16% chance to paralyze you is not really going to cut it. This is where saving our sack of spiders would have been handy, because if there were just some bodies we could throw at the problem here, I do feel like that would be advantageous. Otherwise, I don't like the idea of blinking into the unknown. Blink backwards doesn't take us very far, unfortunately, especially with the slow being combined. I'm pretty sure this son of a gun is just going to walk right up to us. Oof, that shapeshifter was a bit larger of an issue than I was originally thinking. I'm going to read a teleport. Again, the rarest commodity here in the dungeon, at least on this run in particular. And there we go. That lets us at least work off the lingering effects. And us being marked does mean we should at least start thinking things through. Okay, everyone is going to be coming from this angle. Potentially could come the long way. But hopefully if they're heading directly towards us, that's not really too much of a consideration on their part. Okay, negative energy does kind of hit like a truck, eh? Oh, me oh my. Reach out and grab you. And am I in a better spot to deal with our gargoyle friend here? Maybe technically, but still not great. Metal splinters at least shouldn't deal too much damage to us just because we have a decent level of armor class, but Sack of Spiders is back online. So I'm just gonna sick these sons of guns on all of you, shall I? What are you carrying that's a problem? A Wand of Light. Okay, is potentially a problem for sure. But there we go. War Gargoyle is dead. Next up, please and thank you, take down the Convoker. I guess, is there anything else I would rather be cast in? Could Manifold Assault, then I'm at least kind of contributing slightly more across the board here. Beautiful. I do really like that Sack of Spiders. Super effective, even though they're pretty dang squishy. They melt through the majority of enemy forces without too much issue, so absolutely love to see it. And onwards we go, I guess. Holy moly. By some miracle, we are currently managing to continue our decent progress across the wastelands that is the dungeon here. You would not appreciate a Sack of Spiders. I think you might be, yeah, in the majority with that. I think that's very fair. Oh, hello, friends. Oh, I don't like that the eyeball is part of this crew. They're definitely the one major issue point here, again, with just how bad our willpower is. Like, if I take a look at you, 38% chance for you to do all this nasty, nasty stuff to us. Specifically, that polymorph, I feel like, has been hitting today. It doesn't feel like the 38%. It feels more like in the 80 to 90 range, if you ask me. But of course, humans are famously just horrible at even internalizing and acknowledging probabilities, so that may or may not be a factor of some sorts here. I think that'd be fair enough to say. And reach out and grab all of you. Beautiful. That should essentially do the trick there. Quite the crew for sure, but managed to get through. And we're on Vaults 3 already. Holy moly, kids. Turns out Natasha does not fool around, just immediately jumping into business and getting the job done. Hell yeah, brother. And can just charge directly headfirst into the yak pack. Not too concerned there. Okay. Well, this time around, you just absolutely demolish me. Apparently my mind is being just consistently blown by our creepy-ass looking friend there. But nothing we can't handle. Perfect. And ranged combat and sorcery, not quite up our alley there, Ashenzari, but I do appreciate it nonetheless. I mean, I guess we go down to Vaults 4. It's tempting to almost just skip out because things are going fairly smooth, but this will bring us just that little bit closer to bringing our shape-shifting up to 16. In fact, if I could be offered shape-shifting, that could be nice, because I haven't really been paying the most attention. I'm trying to remember where exactly shape-shifting lands. It's probably in devices, if I had to guess, which has been kind of one of our go-to curse categories, so I'm pretty sure we would have noticed if that had come up at all, but as that was not the case. Okay, I was wondering what was hitting us so heavily in our previous little venture down the stairwell here, and I should have recognized it. It was that Thunder Hulk, I'm guessing, much as we saw happening in just once again there. So we need to grab that son of a gun so that they can't keep blinking about. And then from there we can kind of smooth out the ride. And that's not too bad. Definitely ignore that amulet for the time being here. Beautiful. And let's take all of you for a bit of a ride, shall we? Come one, come all. Can just burn through our boomerangs at a prodigious rate there. Perfect. That's the thing, I guess being marked, not the end of the world when you're in a nice corner like this. Because we know that no enemies can come from this direction, so we just have the one stairwell. And I'm pretty sure, you know, we saw a little bit of activity down this direction while we were in that marked state. But fortunately, they couldn't quite pathfind their way around. So let's just thank our lucky stars a little bit in that regard. Okay. Okay, Thunderhulk. I don't like you in the slightest. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Well, this is where we start to beat a hasty retreat, and let's just keep an eye on everyone filtering in from the end of the hallway here. Oh, whoops, accidentally casting Fireball. Let's not blast ourselves point blank range. I know it worked super well for our time in Shoals, but I think that we're past that now. You know, we've evolved as a society, so let's not worry overly much about repeating that, shall we? Well, maybe if I'm around this corner, this doesn't seem too bad. Even if the Thunderhulk does make an appearance, and I'll continue to dump into intelligence. This spellcasting thing, kind of sick. Definitely kind of working out for us in a pretty solid way, so I'm more than happy to do so. In fact, if I do go shapeshifting, my spell casting is probably going to go off the charts, right? So let's turn ourselves into a dragon. Go up a decent amount in health. Of course, our defenses fall in a pretty huge way, so we'll have to keep that in mind, but everything becomes very castable, and if we take a look at our spell list here, even up to level 7 is like, you know, 13. If it's something we want to cast consistently and constantly, then that's not going to cut it, but for just something that we can wombo combo, I mean, the Summon Hydra could potentially be worth it. It's never been a spell that brought too much interest to me, didn't really appear on my radar, and I guess still doesn't really. But if we wanted it, we could cast it. I know, I feel like I'm almost predisposed on that front because it doesn't work out super well for Susan, which may or may not be a fair assessment of it overall. I'm sure it has its uses and can be quite powerful, especially against certain enemies. Holy moly. We struggled a little bit with just one of you, and now there's a whole convention going on. The might coming in is potentially a bit of a sore spot, a bit of a problem. But overall, you know what? I just shouldn't speak. Block the metal splinters that time. That's good, because they have some wildly inconsistent damage, or at least that was the behavior they were showing here. 4 range, so even if I take one step away, that doesn't quite do the trick. I have 2 blink scrolls, so not a whole lot going for us in that department, but blinding you, I mean, 100% chance to hit. I was about to say it's likely going to kill you as well. The barbs, however, are a bit of a problem. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't like that. Does mean that we are potentially in danger territory. At least kind of if we take out our little peacekeeper pal here, then I'm guessing those splinters are going to be coming in from on high. We do have Sack of Spiders back. As the barbs just continue to dig painfully into my body, and now metal splinters I feel like have a decent chance of actually missing our evasive spider buddies and taking me out anyway. So probably shouldn't just keep blindly hoping that that it's not a problem here. Let us instead blink away. I'm trying to think of how many turns it takes to pull out barbs. And unfortunately, okay, I was about to say it's looking like too many turns, but there we go. Oh, these sons of guns are faster than us. I guess they can fly, so that makes a certain amount of sense. And yeah, Eric, I definitely think that was the right call. I'm worried that I'm actually going to have to use a second blink here, unfortunately. I mean, I do have a summoning scroll. Not exactly ideal. Again, almost no shot that I paralyze you, so that's not really an option. Could just bring out every single tool at our disposal. Oh, did our blindness miss you? 95% chance, eh? Excuse me? Okay, it's hitting you. But I guess it doesn't... no longer tells you the chances to blind an enemy. I'm kind of shocked that we weren't seeing that come to fruition really at all. Holy moly. You kids are fast. Well, let's just keep slowly but surely diving our way towards our stairs. Not the best usage of our consumables. I mean, in a sense, right? We stayed alive, and so in many ways it is objectively the best use of consumables. But I think if we'd been proactive in that encounter, we may have been able to find a way around it from the start and not use up both blink scrolls. Hello, Sojibo. You probably also have abjuration, don't you? You do indeed. However, I can potentially keep you a little bit distracted. Just continue to reach out and grab you here. No shot that I blow your mind, right? Yeah, I did not think that was really going to be too much of an option for us here. Otherwise though, is it just, yeah, like fireballs? Some unavoidable damage? Turns out, answer was just kind of yeah. That did the trick. Quite beautifully so, really. Like these two to get a couple steps closer, specifically so that I can try to hit both of them with a single grab. Beautiful. 47% chance to paralyze you. I mean, that's not too bad. Might just blow your mind. It frees up an inventory slot. I don't really see us using that too much over the course of the remainder of the run here. But there we go. Nice little fireball setup. Fantastic. The worst feeling is dying with blink scrolls still in the inventory, and unfortunately it's a feeling that I know oh too well, because I fairly consistently make a habit of doing just that. Too good to use syndrome is a very serious problem in my past, for sure. Oh, so we get turned into a wisp. I mean, it does make us quick enough that we do kind of get away from our vault guard friend, which of course would be fantastic normally. In this case, because I'm an absolute fool and I just walk into a dead end, maybe not quite as effective as it otherwise could be. There we go. Find a nice little corner to huddle in. Ring of Flight, a little bit late for that, I would say. I was also about to comment that chances are we're getting a bit of Marcus energy coming in, and those marks too, of course, bring in all the friends that we're wandering throughout the level, or I guess leading throughout the level is more of an accurate depiction of what I was going for there. But not too bad. Yeah, more yaks, please. I feel weirdly comfortable taking care of the yak packs. And it's mainly just weirdly comfortable because I feel like the last few characters that have made it to this stage of the game have been weirdly troubled in trying to deal with any kind of ranged enemies. I mean, generally we were talking about the Naga sharpshooters in that context, but the Aktars definitely weren't much better by any means. Holy moly. The Orc Bow of Bio, hurling. Is this an unrandart? Or is this a randart that just happens to have a very fitting name? I'm kind of leaning towards the latter there, but it is cool to see an Orc Bow of Bio. Not too bad. Pondering, Orb of Destruction, plus Vile Clutch to hold them in the slow-moving path. I do think that that is a highly effective method of dealing with essentially any enemies you come across. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think if the mana usage is worth it. In general, it probably is, just because Clutch also deals a significant amount of damage. So at least if you don't have Spellforged Servitor, because if you have Spellforged Servitor, you're probably better off just the two of you unleashing an absurd number of dangerous projectiles, and then it doesn't matter if they're slow or inaccurate, because chances are the sprinkler pattern, the shotgun approach, is going to get the job done. But okie dokie, I don't think we'll use this bow regardless, but thought it was cool. Oh, and I didn't notice we got a Storm Talisman at some point there. I mean, 23 minimum skill. I don't know if we'll ever really hit that point. Granite Talisman, however, is pretty sweet. This again just does pretty solid work in terms of our unarmed damage. And on top of that, defensively, it's pretty solid as well. This will also give us that little bit of electricity resistance if that becomes something that is necessary for our continued progress here.